Hello and welcome to the RDA. Rodgers in, Ole out. That is our headline, and we shall discuss it in some detail in this glorious news show that I host. And alongside some transfer news, not so imminent transfer news, but some transfer news nevertheless. Some Manchester United news which we love because we are Manchester United fans, and we shall discuss it all. But welcome to the show, welcome to the RDA. Please smack that subscribe button. And yeah, let's get on with it. Without any further ado, let's get on with it. There's no time to dilly-dally. The news is important and we have to cover it. Okay, we start with the transfer news. We start with news that Dean Henderson could see himself at Newcastle United in the next few months. In the January transfer window, there's talk that Newcastle would be interested in signing Dean Henderson. And interesting story. From a Newcastle point of view, I'm not sure about it. It's a bit weird because I think they have more pressing issues, to be honest. And I think their keeper, Dallo, I think, if I'm pronouncing it right, I don't think he's not that bad. I think he can carry them for the rest of the season, and they should be looking at other positions. Centre back, forwards, midfielders. People who can score the goals, get them the points. And protect the goalkeeper. Because the goalkeeper can't do it all. So I think they have more pressing issues. So it's a bit weird. I don't know. But they do have freaking 200 million to spend. So if they're making to look wholesale changes, yeah, why not? Dean Henderson at the end of the day will improve them because he is a better goalkeeper than what they have at the moment, and he will make them a better team. So yeah, it's an interesting one from Newcastle United, and I guess he's young. He's nice and young. It does make sense. If they're looking to build from the foundation, and grow with a really young squad that can nurture into something really good. I think Dean Henderson is a good start. He's shown that he can be at those levels. He showed it at Sheffield United, and coming in, I think he will improve them and he will grow with them. He could be symbolic of the club in many ways. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. But from a Manchester United point of view, I don't know. Look, personally, I've not really minded the whole two top class goalkeepers. Like I hear left, right, and center, I'm wrong, but I'm not really minded because I think it can work. I really do think it can work. I saw it work at Barcelona with Marc-Andre ter Stegen and Bravo for a season. But I saw it work. And then someone would be like, "Yo, that's why it worked for a season. That's why Bravo left because it wasn't working." I get that point of view. But I think the bigger problem comes more from management than than the actual goalkeepers maybe not working well together. I think one, if the structure of the club is doing well, if the morale of the club is doing well, of course it also makes a difference. And two, I think if you can set clear boundaries that you play here and you play here, I think it works. I think it'll work. I don't see why it won't, to be honest. So this is my opinion. But I feel like so many people can't say the opposite and there not be some truth in it. So, I'll concede that one. And from that point of view, maybe he should leave, Maybe it won't work in Manchester United. And also with his ambitions, maybe if you're looking from the point of view of who the keepers actually are, with Dean Henderson's ambitions, maybe he himself doesn't want it like that, Maybe he wants to be number one. He's very confident, he's literally said that he thinks he will be Manchester United number one day, And that's not the reason that maybe he won't leave Manchester United. He's very stubborn, very confident, which is admirable in a way. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And I think Ole has really messed it up, in my opinion. I don't think he's managed them well, and I feel like he gets pressured by the media, Like when the media says this, he does this with them, When they say Henderson should play, he plays them. And it hasn't really worked out because of that. So it's a shame because for the longest time, us as fans as well have really struggled to pick between the two, So I like Dean Henderson, I think he would have had a brilliant future at Manchester United. But I think this move makes sense to a certain extent for Newcastle and makes total sense for Dean Henderson, As much as I said he probably wouldn't want to do it, I think going to Newcastle would be great for his career because He goes there, he gets game time. That's the most important thing. He gets game time. He needs to play, As Southgate has said in the past with him, as much as we like to slay Southgate, he can't play a keeper who doesn't get game time, He's dropped Sancho now. You can't play a player who doesn't get game time. Because, when internationals come, it's 1-2 practice, then we need to 1-2 training, then we need to play, So you need people who are fit. You can't be playing people who aren't fit. It just makes an international manager's job way harder, to be honest. So if he wants to be England's number one, which I think he also wants to be, and he seems to enjoy playing for England, then he needs to get away from this club and get game time, And two, just for his career, I feel like, sometimes things they don't work out the way you thought they will, He clearly has always been ambitious to be Manchester United's goalkeeper, Sometimes things don't work out the way you thought they will, but they're still great at the end of the day. And I do think he will still be a renowned goalkeeper, I do think that. I think he has great potential. I can see him as England's number one, over Ramsdale. So I do think he definitely over Pickford. I do think he's a great future, but I do think to aid that future, going to Newcastle would help because he gets exposure, he gets game time, and I think it's a perfect move for Dean Henderson. And moving on from that, before I move on, it was reported by Chris Willer from the Daily Mail. So yeah, I feel like I need to tell you I get these stories. I can't just be like coming here, this is happening, it's like I'm sucking out of my thumb, But I need to tell you I get these stories. And another transfer story, also reported by Chris Willer and the Daily Mail, is more transfer news about Donny van de Beek and Phil Jones, moving away in January as well. Not to any specific club, unlike the Dean Henderson story, but moving away nevertheless. And we shall start with Jones. And yeah, makes perfect sense. Jones should just get that all away from Manchester United, It makes no sense for him to stay here. It really doesn't. I think, why would you anyway, I don't think, I was listening to him talk about how depressing it got not playing, But you're not going to play anyway, mate, You're going to be a glorified bench warmer, glorified by Ole Gunnar Solskjær himself, the man who sells you dreams. Ole Gunnar Solskjær sells players' dreams. I'll play you, stay, don't play. I'll play you, don't even be Jesse Lingard, now Phil Jones, So I think Phil Jones should do himself a favor and just leave this club, and just go, start his career fresh, I think it'd be great for him. Because I know there's a player in there. I know there's a player in there, And most people would say I'm mad, but I do. I really do. And I think if somehow he can get over his injuries, if he can go to a club where there's a competent medical department that can help him, I don't know about our medical department. It's a bit iffy, sometimes it seems like it's a bit average, sometimes we're like, okay, maybe we're being harsh, maybe these players are just injury prone, But yeah, if you can go to a club that can help him with the injury and he plays consistent football, like a Newcastle, you never know, I think it'll be great for his career. And speaking of Newcastle, they haven't shown interest, but if they could keep him fit, he improves them, in my opinion. Because I do think there's a good player in there. I don't think someone like Sir Alex Ferguson saying is a good player, another coach is saying that. I don't think they were talking rubbish, I do think there's a player in there, and he just needs a coach and a club that can help get it out of him. And for us, good riddance. Good riddance, We need to get rid of some players, Some players don't play, some bench warmers, It doesn't work. We're going to have a big squad with so many players that don't play, So the deadwood needs to be pushed away, and he's firmly part of that, Phil Jones. And we've got so many centre-backs, Bailly can't even get minutes, even when everybody's injured, he can't get minutes. And Lindelof plays, but then less so nowadays because of Varane. So when the heck is Phil Jones ever going to play? So yeah, that makes perfect sense. And Donny van de Beek. From a Donny van de Beek point of view, yeah, you know what? Donny van de Beek has been violated at this club. It's disgusting, and he needs to move away, because he's a really good player, Unlike Phil Jones, who you can say does not deserve to start, at this moment in time. And maybe we can say same about Dean Henderson as well. Donny van de Beek deserves to start. He's better than what we're playing in the midfield, and he should be starting, but he's not. So that's a slap in the face, and Donny van de Beek should just leave, because he's a brilliant player. And there'll be a lot of suitors. In my opinion. I can see Barcelona coming in. I can see Real Madrid maybe coming back. I can see, sorry about that. I can see Juventus potentially coming in, So I think, yeah, it'd be best for his career. Once again, he was also sold dreams by Ole Gunnar Solskjær. They say he wanted to go to Everton in the summer, but Solskjær said, "Oh, I'll play you, Donny," and he hasn't played him. So it's a yikes. He was also a bit naive to listen to Ole Gunnar Solskjær. So yeah, it'll be an interesting move. In just the way it goes, I don't think a club like Everton would make sense, in my opinion. I think it's better than that, to be honest. And I think clubs know what the problem has been at Manchester United. It's not been Donny van de Beek, it's been the management. He's been poorly managed, and there's still a good player in there. So I think he can go to Barcelona, he can go to Madrid. I think they'll still be interested. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting watch. And from a United point of view, yeah, it's a big L. It's a big fat L, because this club's incompetent. We brought in a good player, put him in the hands of an incompetent manager, and we have wasted the asset. What do we pay? 40 million or so? I think we'll make a loss. I can see him going for 25, to be honest. Maybe we'll push it to 30. But yeah, it sucks, and things like this keep happening, It's been happening less and less lately. And from a transfer point of view, yeah, I'll come in Solskjaer. I think just recruitment has been better. But this club has had a bad history of recruitment ever since Fergie left. Remember Falcao? What a disaster. Remember Falcao? Bastian Schweinsteiger barely played, Memphis, I'll put Memphis in that, even though his career has gone up. Maybe the fact that they sold him, in itself is a bad move. So we do have a bad history in that, and we're going to waste another asset. Yeah, And it's worrying in a sense that it seems like it could be the start of, a bad trend of players maybe wanting to move on. Donny wants to leave. You can imagine Tony's thinking it. Pogba's going to run down his contract. Ronaldo won't want to stay in a club that's not ambitious. Then if Ronaldo leaves, Bruno's going to say, what the heck am I doing here? And where are we after that? So this club needs to think about these type of things when they keep such a manager in charge. What is it doing for us long term? They talk about money and all that. You'll lose money long term if you keep this manager, in my opinion. You lose your assets long term if you keep this manager. And yeah, you know what? Normal Manchester United thing. We're not surprised. We're incompetent, And these people are Manchester United. They are Manchester United. We are Manchester United fans. And I guess the players are passionate about it. And I'm not going to include Ole Gunnar Solskjær at the moment, to be honest. As much as he's a legend, and he will regain that legend status when he leaves, at the moment, he is firmly glazes in. Because he plays horrible football, and he backs them. He backs them. So, yeah, it is what it is. But, yeah, we'll move on to our main story as soon as my PC decides that it's actually going to work. Sorry about that. My PC decided that it's going to be a bloody cost. So I shall have to recall the story off the top of my head. And I do remember most of it, so it won't be a train smash. And our main story, imagine, it does this on our main story. Unbelievable. Brendan Rodgers, our headline, Rodgers in, Ole out. And the actual headline, which I'm reading through the Manchester United news, which is getting it from the Daily Star, reads that Manchester United ready to trigger Brendan Rodgers' contract clause if Ole Gunnar Solskjær is sacked. And yeah, Rodgers in, Ole out. That's the story. Rodgers firmly the favorite, it seems. That's what the story has been. That's what all the reporters have been reporting. And if I remember correctly, the story talks about how there is a release clause that is only in place if a Champions League club comes around. If a Champions League club comes around, he will be allowed to leave Leicester. And, it also covers the fact that he feels that he's taken Leicester so far. So, he'd be interested in the job. There's been talks of how he might not be interested in leaving now, maybe in the summer. But I disagree. I think he is interested in leaving now because it's not like it's going on Leicester this season anyway. And he's an ambitious man. And he would know that, this type of opportunity only comes once. If he says no now, we might not come back in the summer. We might get Poch, we might get Ten Hag, So he realized that he needs to probably take this. And interesting. It's been very divisive in the fan base ever since this has come out, about whether or not Brendan Rodgers is actually the right man to take the job. And for me, I did a video 2 days ago where I talked about Ralph Rangnick, and I do think he is firmly number one. As much as a coach, I love Pochettino, and I think he'd be brilliant for us. But in terms of what we need, Ralf Rangnick is number one, and then I would put Pochettino number two. But ultimately, I rate Brendan Rodgers. I rate Brendan Rodgers. You can slay me all you want. I think he's a good manager. And I'll start with the fact that people saying he will be a yes man or a puppet to the Glazers. And I think it's a bit unfair. Why are we branding him this? Why are we branding him? Why are we branding Brendan Rodgers a puppet? Why are we doing that? What has he done to deserve that? Because, how many managers won't really be under the thumb of the Glazers? Let's just be realistic for a second. How many managers won't be under the thumb of the Glazers? We can say a box office manager. How many of those are lying around them? How many of those are out there at the moment? Who is box office? Who's a manager who's bigger than a club? Not even, but then some might say bigger than Manchester United, bigger than any club. At the moment, it says Zidane is the only one. Maybe Conte, who we've lost, but not many of those managers are around at the moment. So what are we going to do then? This talks that Zidane doesn't even want us, So I think most managers will be under the thumb of the Glazers. And even if we do bring a box office manager bigger than the club, we've tried that. We've done that. You can argue Van Gaal was that, and Jose Mourinho was definitely that. He's probably the biggest of them all. And he did what we want. He spoke out. What happened? He didn't get backed. He spoke out and he got Fred. He spoke out and his punishment was Fred and that old keeper that we bought. I keep forgetting his name. And he didn't get backed in his third season. And for that, we shocked, So, we need to be realistic to a certain extent with this club. Like who is really going to come and really make the changes that we want, the wholesale changes that we want? To be honest, probably no one. Probably no one until the Glazers say, okay, we're willing to bring in a Ralf Rangnick, someone who's going to have power in terms of the football and it's just upstairs, But any manager who's going to come in won't really do that, in my opinion. And that sucks, but it's the reality. So what do we need? I think we need someone who's going to come in, use the squad that we have, and just at least entertain us fans, one. And two, maybe win something, Get the best out of the squad and the scraps that the Glazers give them. I know it sounds bleak, but it's the truth. It's the truth, honestly. And what the bigger question should be, why aren't we pushing the Glazers out there more? We should focus our energy there every day, which we don't. We are a bit hypocritical as Manchester United fans because we say Glazers out. We sign Ronaldo, Sancho, and Varane. We keep quiet. And this happens right now with the one to fire an incompetent manager and when I go Glazers out. Why did we stop? And I'm not making myself better. I am part of it. I stopped tweeting as well. I didn't tweet as much anymore. So I do think we need to get to a point where we say, it's done. These guys are just incompetent. This board, this ownership is not going to do the most. So we need to pile the pressure every week, in whatever form or way that we can. And that should be the main focus. But at the same time, we're Manchester United fans and we are allowed to enjoy our club and enjoy the football. And we will enjoy the football more if we have a manager who can get the best out of these players, And in terms of that criteria, getting the best out of these players and getting them playing good football, Zidane, Ten Hag, Rodgers, I don't see much of a difference. I don't, honestly, Maybe Zidane in the sense that he's won trophies, maybe, sure, I'll give that, maybe he'll come and win trophies. And if you want trophies as your main objective, sure, 100%. I have questions over his football, but, how can you question a man who's won 3 Champions League trophies in a row? So I can see that, But Ten Hag will come and play good football. So will Brendan Rodgers. I think he's proved it. Honestly, I don't see the gap, You might think I'm crazy, and please tell me in the comment section, how much of a gap is there between Erik Ten Hag and Brendan Rodgers? I think Erik Ten Hag is a good manager, and he's made wholesale changes at Ajax, and he's worked with the academy. So maybe the academy side, that's where he edges Brendan Rodgers, in my opinion, and he's gone to a semi-final, People are like, he's gone to a semi-final. When has Brendan Rodgers ever gone to a semi-final? The thing is, Brendan Rodgers at Leicester, and he's playing good football. And when you look at Leicester, before I get there, I just want to talk about Brendan Rodgers' career as a whole. Before I get what he's done at Leicester, so I want to talk about Brendan Rodgers' career as a whole. And I think people really underrate what a talented manager he is. I think he deserves a shot. He deserves a shot. And it's not wrong to give managers a shot. It's not wrong. I think, yes, I know Fergie came in from Aberdeen. I'm forgetting how to pronounce the club's name. And, he had come with a great reputation that he had transformed that club, and he'd do the same, I guess maybe you could say the same about not Brendan Rodgers, about Ten Hag at Ajax, maybe. But was really that renowned? Maybe I'm too young. Maybe you can let me know in the comment section, But I do think that, he was probably given an opportunity, much like we could give Brendan Rodgers, a good coach, an opportunity, in my opinion, I think he's done well. He's done well for himself. Swansea, he started off, he was good. That's why he went to Liverpool. He was overachieving most of the season, to be honest. And I think to have a defense of people like Skirtle and Colatore and what's his name again? Is it Monreal? I'm forgetting the names, But crap defenders, to be honest, And to get that close to the title, even though he slipped up, which one can say is a theme that has crossed over to Leicester now, but I do think he done well for them. He was very much overachieving with that squad, and I think, I think he's a good manager. He played really good football with them. They played the type of football that we want to see at United. He played it at Liverpool, and it was unfortunate he didn't win the league. To be honest, it's Gerrard's fault. The Villa manager, it's his fault, not Rodgers. It's Gerrard's fault. If Gerrard doesn't slip, they win the title. It's as clear as that, to be honest. And he moved on to Celtic. And at Celtic, I think he did really well. And only today have I heard someone talk about his achievements at Celtic. I felt like people have been ignoring it. Only today I heard someone mention it. I was like, why are we not talking about this? Because I know the Scottish League maybe is below par. Fair. But one, he went invincible. He went invincible in that league, Like, what's his name again? Xavi just went to Barcelona. And he went invincible in the league. I forgot what country he is at. But it was very inferior, much inferior to the Scottish League, to be honest. He went invincible there. He won trophies and played good football. And he's like, oh, Xavi's amazing. Look at the tiki-taka football. He's amazing. Rodgers did exactly the same thing at Celtic, but I feel like he doesn't get the same appreciation. He went invincible. He won all the domestic trophies. And he showed that in terms of managing a group of players, he knows what he's doing. He's gone to Leicester now, and yes, they have bottled it a couple of times. They have bottled it, but they won an FA Cup. In the midst of Man City, Manchester United, they knocked Manchester United out. In the midst of Manchester United, Liverpool, they won the FA Cup. Two, in the league, they've played really good football. I think in the last season or so, they have reverted to playing a little bit on the counter. Instead of his first season where he played some really good on-the-ball football. But even though they're on the counter now, it's not like Ole where it's completely on the counter. It's a bit balanced, and they still play pretty attractive football, And I just think, it's unfair. It's not unfair. Yes, he did slip up, and he probably does deserve to be slated for it to an extent, and probably is the biggest point of worry, in my opinion. But I do think that he was overachieving once again anyway. He was, I know I might sound like I'm grasping for Brendan Rodgers, but he was, because at the end of the day, the first season he slipped up, they were going strong, Then there was the project restart thing. And ultimately, we come back, and a team that's chasing him has Paul Pogba, has Bruno Fernandes, has Mason Greenwood at his prime, has Marcus Rashford, Like his players compared to Manchester United's players, none of them on the same planet, to be honest. I think they have good players, but we clearly have better players, I mean, how many Manchester United don't start at Leicester? Indeed, he starts in the midfield, but then it's our midfield. It's Pogba and Bruno. It's our attacking lineup. You're going to play Vardy over Ronaldo? Not a chance. It's our back line, So maybe now we've got Ronaldo, yes. And back then we didn't have Ronaldo. It was Mason. But still, Mason's a good player. Rashford's a good player. Tony's a good player. It's arguable. Some people would play Tony over Radford or Vardy, and that's not the point. We're getting lost. That's not the point. The point is our squad is much better than theirs, and it came down to that really, Maybe they shouldn't have dropped that big of a lead, and I do get that is maybe a sense of concern, but I don't know. I honestly think it's been exaggerated. And flip over to the season after that, similar thing. Not as much of a gap, as last season, but they're being chased by Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp with Jurgen Klopp's squad. I don't know. I think what he's done so far warrants the team Leicester has. It really does. Anything more than that, he'd be a world beater. But I do think he's good enough. Probably not a world beater because he doesn't prove he's a world beater, but he's good enough. And that's all right. That's all right because it's not lowering your standards. When you bring a manager who's good enough to a club that has brilliant players, then he can become a world beater because he has so many more assets to work with. So I do think Brendan Rodgers is a good shout. I do think the hatred towards him and the saying the lowering of the standards and not being good enough, I do think it's exaggerated. On top of the fact that we have Ole, we have Ole. So, we can't really be picky at this moment in time, Our manager's shite, this guy is a clue about tactics and he should come to Manchester United. For me, it's that simple, and I do think there's a very good chance of him being successful. And let's not be stupid and sign him on a long-term contract, We've seen Chelsea do with Tuchel, You sign him on a little contract, you see what he's doing. If he pleases you, then you give him a long-term contract, These things happen. And if he gets fired, he gets fired. That's football, That's football. So I'm 100% on the Brendan Rodgers team, Not my first choice, but I really do want him. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I know a lot of you don't agree with what I've said, but it is what it is, And I think it's going to be interesting. Ole's still in charge. And I think this club will be killing themselves if they think they want to fire Ole. I honestly do, I've been confident, but as the time goes on, that confidence does seem to lower because, he's going to come back from Norway, he's on his little break, and he's going to train with the players, and then he's going to play Watford, and then play Villarreal, and it's going to be Ajax for us. But there's hope, The fact that these Brendan Rodgers stories are coming out, there's hope. And then he's going to face Chelsea and Arsenal, and I think, if he's still in charge, they're going to get hammered. And they're going to be forced to fire him, in my opinion. They'll be forced to fire him unless if they're really trying to lower the standards that much. And if we stand for that, that'll be our fault. If we lose Chelsea and Arsenal and he's still in charge and we're still, they're seeing all as the wheel, packed in the stadium, 75,000, we're crazy. It's as simple as that, we're crazy, and we need to make ourselves heard. But yeah, I rambled a little there at the end, and yeah, I think Brendan Rodgers would be a good choice. But yeah, it's been a good video. I've enjoyed it. And please like and subscribe if you like the content. And yeah, check you next time.